Hey everyone, Johnny here. Don't speak news. News we're not supposed to speak about. We'll get to that in a second. But first, just had to reflect this time because every year in July, we have to renew the website hosting for the website through WordPress. Well, it just dawned on me and it just hit me like a ton of bricks this year that I've been podcasting for 14 years. This all began in July of 2011. It started on Blog Talk Radio with the Johnny Storm Show, which surprisingly, I didn't know this, but Blog Talk Radio no longer exists. It's morphed into something else. I'm not sure what, but the domain name's up for sale and everything else. So I was going to show you, the original first broadcast from Blog Talk Radio, but I can't show it to you now because it's gone. But that was kind of weird. I just came across that yesterday. But nonetheless, I've been doing this for 14 years and I hope to be doing it longer. But I'm doing it at God's will. And it's only by God's grace I've been able to last this long. And losing two 15,000 plus subscriber YouTube channels didn't help. But I want to thank everybody who's been with me on this journey. Some of you have been with me since the Johnny Storm Show days, which ended in 2016. It just became kind of a left-right paradigm show, and that's what I've always stood against. And I started becoming that, which I was talking against. So rather than be a hypocrite, I ended that podcast. And then in 2017, the Lord told me to start, really pushing this one, Don't Speak News. And I prayed. I said, well, Lord, what sense does it make? Because we've got Pizzagate now, and that was 2016, and now there's all this shadow banning. We're not going to get any traction. No one's going to even know we exist. He said, you let me worry about that. You do the work, and I'll bring the audience. And so it's been that way ever since. And I hope it continues. But like I said, it's God's will, whether or not we do. And so I put a link up to the fundraiser for that at the bottom of this posting right here, if you'd like to help us stick around. But please pray for us, if nothing else. And I pray that we stick around longer. How much longer? Once again, that's up to God. It's His will that I'm even here. So just wanted to reflect on that and thank everybody who's been with me, who's prayed for me, who supported me, of course. And wow, it's just hard to believe it's been that long. 14 years. And I doubt there'll be 14 more. I doubt we'll even have maybe even one more. We'll see. But nonetheless, we'll be here for as long as God wills it. So I want to thank everybody once again. Now, move on to the issues at hand. So much to talk about, guys. I don't even know where to begin. So I'll just begin. So we'll start here. Actually, no. On my list, I've got this to start with. So I actually made a short list today. So we started with the 14 years, and now we go to the earthquakes. They're in Japan right now. There's a swarm. There's actually been quite a bit of swarming here over the 900 earthquakes over the past 2 weeks in this little area right here in the islands just south of the main island of Japan here. And so they've been stacking on top of one another. I think the biggest one up to now has been a 5.6 magnitude. But there's just one after another, all in this one little area. Well, the reason I bring this up is because there's actually a prophecy about earthquakes in Japan in July of 2025. Specifically, it may be July 5th that this prophecy talks about. And you can watch this video for yourself. It starts at about the 1:30 mark of the video. So back here a little ways. But it talks about this prophecy for a huge earthquake and tsunami in Japan. But not just one earthquake. She also predicted the earthquake that happened in March of 2011 in Japan. She predicted the magnitude, the exact day, the tsunami that happened afterwards. She predicted all of it to a T. Now, there's other things she's predicted that have not come true, so take this all with a big grain of salt, like Stefan says here. However, she was dead accurate about the earthquake and tsunami in 2011, and now she says there's one coming July of this year, July 2025, like right now, and specifically July 5th. But generally, July 2025, if you want to just look at it in general. So if it doesn't happen on the 5th, maybe it still happens in July, is what he's saying here. But I found that very interesting. Earthquakes in diverse places, Matthew 24:7. That's what Jesus said would happen. And we've got some earthquakes in diverse places. He goes on to talk about other areas that are having similar events right now, earthquake swarms, like over here in the Indian Ocean, close to where the 2004 tsunami and earthquake happened. So a lot of earthquake events going on right now, volcanic events going on right now. Man, it's just crazy how the earth is shaking right now. And a lot of it's due to all this energy coming in from the sun, all these solar storms and solar flares, just electrifying everything and creating that downward pressure he talks about. So I'm no expert, but I know I have enough common sense to know when to pay attention, and it's definitely time to pay attention. And like Jesus said, earthquakes in diverse places, and it's happening right now. And it's just intensifying in frequency and, in intensity of the earthquakes themselves. So, wow, just crazy. Then, of course, we have this going on for the 4th of July. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security are issuing warnings, and they're saying that they're going to enhance security for the 4th. Now, they don't have any specific threats that they mentioned in this particular article, but they're just saying that we're going to be extra vigilant here for the 4th of July weekend. Without, like I said, they haven't really specified anything. But they said, because like it says here, at this time, DHS is not aware of any specific credible threats to the 4th of July celebrations. A spokesperson for the FBI told Newsweek the FBI always encourages members of the public to be vigilant and report anything they consider suspicious to law enforcement. So we'll have to see what happens this weekend. I just want you to be alert. Like it says here, be vigilant, but no fear. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So don't walk around in fear or, anxious or anything. Just be aware of your surroundings and be alert this weekend because they love to do things on big holiday weekends like this one. But then again, part of the psychological war is them saying things like this and then nothing ever happening, keeping everybody on their toes and energized to basically drain us. And then we come to this. The House has passed the GOP mega bill, or the triple B, big beautiful bill, as Trump keeps calling it, sending the measure to Trump's desk. So this comes after a marathon overnight session during which GOP leaders convinced holdouts to support the bill and a record-breaking floor speech by Jeffries. So in spite of all the hullabaloo, we're going to resist it, and Thomas Massie said he had a coalition and that was solid and they were going to, stop it in the House. They didn't stop. And we didn't think it would, did we? I mean, as much as I didn't want this to pass, and I'm sure nobody out there listening wanted this to pass, it nonetheless it passed because it has to. It's part of the Antichrist beast system. And so now it's been codified into law and put in place. So here we go. From Leo's newsletter, Leo Holman. Trump's BBB, or the Big Beautiful Bill, just passed the Senate. Of course, this was before it passed the House, which it has. It will massively expand the digital biometric surveillance state for years to come. The bill allocates billions for digital tracking systems nationwide, mostly under the guise of border security. Yep. And that's why they had to have Joe Biden and his administration go ahead and create the crisis by letting all the people in, right, including all the criminal elements from, Venezuela and so on. They had to create all of that so they could have the solution, which is mass deportations. And hey, if some American citizens get deported along with them, that's just the way it goes, right? Got to crack a few eggs to make omelets. I mean, it's ridiculous what's been happening. But anyway, it completely eviscerates your rights to privacy. I mean, just forget it. It's all gone. And it was anyway, but this just codifies it into law, like I said. So the Senate version of H.R. 1, otherwise known as One Big Beautiful Bill, reflects as aggressive expansion of AI-driven federal biometric surveillance infrastructure under the Trump administration's second term. The website Biometric Update, which reports on all things digital and biometric, posted an article on June 30th that points out how President Trump's bill will expand the digital surveillance state exponentially and place the U.S. on an irreversible course toward a biometric slave state that tracks the movement of everyone, everywhere. Yep, they want everybody on a grid, everybody in the cloud so they can monitor you just like you see here on the screen. Have all of your vital readouts and what you might be thinking, all of it. This is why they wanted to get all of the shots into the arms, right? So that they could get surveillance under the skin, just like they talk about at the World Economic Forum all the time. Mr. Yuval Harari, surveillance under the skin. Remember that? That's what this expands, the surveillance state. Like it's really worded well here, a biometric slave state. That's a good way to put it. According to the article, the 940-page bill does much more than allocate dollars. It would codify a vision of the national security state where biometric surveillance, artificial intelligence, and immigration enforcement converge at an unprecedented scale. The bill passed the Senate on Tuesday, July 1st, after earlier passing the House, and now returns to the House for reconciliation. Trump has said he'd like it on his desk by July 4th. Well, they have it on there sooner than that. He's got it right now. So, according to Biometric Update, passed out of the House along party lines earlier this year, the Senate version now reflects the Trump administration's deepening focus on internal surveillance. That means you and I. It has nothing to do with immigrants. Those that say it does. That's their excuse. That's their scapegoat. And deportation infrastructure. And believe me, when the no-hide laws kick in, American citizens that don't go along with the program will be getting kicked out too, or put in Alligator Alley or prisons like that. Although a final vote is pending in the Senate and will need to be passed by the House, which it just did, what's already in the legislative text that likely will remain intact is deeply consequential for civil liberties, biometric privacy, and immigration governance. And it goes on to say, at its core, H.R. 1 dedicates over $175 billion in immigration-related funding for fiscal year 2025 alone, which is by far the largest such allocation in U.S. history and represents a dramatic technology buildup. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will receive nearly $30 billion in funding through 2029, earmarked not only for personnel and deportation operations, but also for digital modernization efforts that lean heavily on AI and biometric surveillance. We have to know everything about you in order to make sure that you're legal to be here, right? Oh, Johnny, what's wrong with that? Well, there's a whole lot wrong with that. Come on. We ain't got nothing to hide. Yeah, okay. Until you do. So more than $5.2 billion within ICE's share is dedicated to infrastructure modernization, including $2.5 billion specifically for artificial intelligence systems, biometric data collection platforms, and digital case tracking. DHS officials familiar with the bill's intent say the funds are aimed at expanding ICE's access to mobile biometric tools, integrating facial recognition into field operations, automating risk scoring for individuals in deportation proceedings, and accelerating case processing through AI-driven platforms. This massive digital surveillance build-out is being done under the guise of immigration enforcement and border security, but that's a ruse, a psyop, just like I told you. It always has been. Problem, reaction, solution. They created the problem under Biden. We've had a big reaction to it here in the United States. Everybody wants these illegal gangs and that rooted out, and I agree. But there's a lot of people here that are working hard and paying taxes and that are kind of vital for our infrastructure, picking our crops, packing our meats, trucking it around the country. Jobs that Americans just don't do anymore. But anyway, when there's no food at the grocery stores, people will understand. So the same technology is being erected in cities throughout America. They're not putting it at the border too, and it will all be integrated into one big, beautiful surveillance system. Nobody will be going anywhere without their movement being tracked. Your car will be tracked, your phone will be tracked, your face will be tracked, even your gait will be analyzed and tracked. It's all available to law enforcement in real time. In theory, at least, these tools give law enforcement the ability to see and stop crimes before they happen, like in the Hollywood film Minority Report. And everybody laughed when I said that was predictive programming. Not laughing now. It's real. It's here. The Minority Report is here. So in reality, it establishes an Orwellian police state where privacy is a quaint idea associated with old think. Indeed. Below is a photo I took of a black surveillance tower, a type of which has been popping up over the last couple of years all over the small city of Noonan, Georgia, where I live. Interesting. I've also noticed that the state of Georgia is chopping down all the trees along interstate highways. This is likely so that their cameras have an unhindered view of all passing vehicles, motorcycles, bikes, even walkers along these major arteries. You have to read deep into the biometric update article before they tell you the whole truth. That the money allocated by Trump's BBB isn't just being spent to monitor illegal aliens. Read and weep, as no constitutional conservative in Congress could vote for such a bill in good conscience. Under H.R. 1, CBP, that's Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol, would gain broader authority to deploy facial recognition tools at ports of entry and along transportation corridors in line with DHS's 2024 strategic plan that envisions end-to-end biometric travel. The plan states that DHS is aggressively pursuing innovative technologies for detection and strengthening identity verification for travelers within the United States through biometric and biographic techniques and technologies. While framed as an anti-terror and anti-trafficking measure, critics argue the systems normalize mass biometric surveillance with minimal oversight. So there you have it. End-to-end biometric travel. Does that sound like a plan geared solely for catching illegal aliens? They admit this dragnet's being installed and operated with minimal oversight. I would posit that it's even worse. I would say it's more accurate to expect that this digital surveillance will occur on a daily basis with zero oversight from any independent source representing citizens and taxpayers. The globalists are using classic Hegelian dialectic tactics of action and reaction to get their beast system implemented. Like we said, first they opened the border and let every imaginable evil into the country under Biden. Then under Trump, they put in place the opposite reaction of digitized biometric control system. He talked about this in 2017, by the way. Just nobody was paying attention. In addition to these biometric expansions under Trump, Biometric Update notes that the bill's AI-related language introduces a 10-year moratorium on the enforcement of state and local biometric privacy laws. The moratorium is tied to funding conditions, meaning states risk losing federal broadband and AI development funds unless they suspend their own biometric safeguards. The article concludes, given the speed and scale of the bill's advancement, biometric surveillance and data privacy landscapes across the U.S. may soon look dramatically different and be further centralized under federal authority, stripped of local safeguards, and deeply intertwined with AI-driven immigration enforcement. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your big, beautiful bill with a 10-year moratorium on enforcement of state and local biometric privacy laws. Your privacy's gone. And like I said before, Yuval Harari says this is surveillance under the skin. And that's what happened with the jab rollout. This is why they insisted everybody get it. Because they want you to be part of this digital biometric surveillance state for years to come. And the only way to get it under your skin is through those shots. I hope you're starting to see the bigger picture. So how it's all coming together, how all of this has worked together and come together now into the final beast system that just got codified into law here in the United States. Wow. Unbelievable. Are you ready? You have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior because he's the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody gets to the Father but through him. Nobody. Wow. Make him your Lord and Savior. Make him the Lord and Savior over your life today. Get inside of his ark today because he's the only way out of this. He's the only way through this. There's no pre-tribulation rapture. That's not going to happen. That's a fantasy made up by the Freemasons. The Jesuits actually came up with it, but the Freemasons have been perpetuating it for the last 150 years. Don't fall for it. Jesus Christ is the way through this and the only way through this. Seek him now while there's still time, because time is definitely short. And that'll be it for now. Wow. Doing the best I can, you guys. I took a few days off of making videos because I spent some time with my family, and I also had some other issues I had to tend to, doctoring and so on. Been dealing with my gut issues off and on in the past few days. Been kind of bad, but please keep me in your prayers. I'll keep doing whatever I can on my end. And when I get the grace to do videos, that's when I do them. And so that's why I'm doing one right now. So if you'd like to subscribe to the channel to be notified every time I put up a new broadcast or just a blog, click on the subscribe, contact Johnny tab. Type in your email here, click on subscribe, and you're in. This is also at the bottom of every article. You'll also get one pop-up with this on it. in case you do want to subscribe. But that's it, just one. And then if you want to email me, it's don'tspeaknews@protonmail. That's how you get in touch with me. And then for channel support, like I said, we are having that fundraiser for website renewal, but the regular channel support tab is right here. All the ways to support us are listed there. And then Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, YouTube, they're all under this tab as far as where to find us around the internet. And that will be it for now. I think that's enough for this one, right? God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.